G'day, g'day, you saucy little vegetables. It's me, Tozzarino, and we're doing something a little different today. We're going to be talking about an actual comic book. I know! A channel that talks about superheroes talking about an actual printed comic book. What a rarity in today's day and age. Considering Wonder Man recently released, and I may or may not have a video on the show coming out, I thought it'd be interesting to dive into the character's very first appearance, all the way back in Avengers issue number 9 in October of 1964. That's right, number 9. Wonder Man's been here since the beginning, and not necessarily in the capacity you would expect him to be. So, first off, I just want to talk about the cover for this issue, because I think this is one of my favorite Avengers covers from that time period. This book that I have, it's the Penguin Classics collection. It's got a bunch of various Avengers issues from the 60s and early 70s. This is one of my favorite covers, because it's so perfectly simple, and it sets everything up amazingly. You have our main boy right here, all clad in this green outfit, which I hate. I've always hated this look. This motherfucker will not be wearing this in the MCU at any point. But of course, you know, we have the Avengers up here, very iconic. And then down here, the Masters of Evil, who are the real kind of highlight of the issue. Don't get me wrong, this is Wonder Man's debut, but I think these three fucking queens down here, they are the GOATs. I just love it so much, and I love the big banner here, you know, the newest, most dynamic surprise character from the world-famous House of Ideas. These guys, you know, Lee was absolutely glazing himself at the time, and honestly, with a run like them in the 60s, I don't blame him for that. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. We're going to talk about the comic. I genuinely think this is a really solid single issue of comics, because it has a complete arc for Wonder Man in the span of, like, a couple pages. So we begin with Captain America, and he's tweaking out because he's having PTSD flashbacks of fucking Baron Zemo. And the Avengers are, like, holding him back. It makes me laugh every time I see it. They're like, no, it's a wall, bro. It's a wall. You're tweaking. You're tweaking the fuck out, bro. I love how melodramatic a lot of the Marvel comics from this time period are. There's something so, like, real about it, but there's also, obviously, it's very heightened. And I do love that. I love that about these books. They're so interesting. But regardless, we come to the Masters of Evil here. You know, Baron Zemo, Enchantress, Executioner. They are stuck in the dimensional barriers or whatever. They're traveling through the 6... Sorry, I didn't actually look at that page. They're stuck between the 6th and 7th dimensions. I can't escape it, bro. It's everywhere. Sorry, we're gonna have to take a break. Okay, so now that we've recovered from 6-7, this isn't really a problem, because Enchantress just fucking twiddles her fingers, and now we're in the Amazon. Cool, I guess. You could have done that the whole time? Fair enough. So Enchantress and the Executioner are hanging out with Zemo really because they need him to guide them on, like, Earth and stuff. And Zemo's a bit of a schemer. He's a dirty little boy. He's like, well, you know, I beat Cap once, I'll do it again. So he walks us through his plan, and we head to New York City. And here's the man. Here's our boy. Here's Simon Williams' debut. Now, for anyone who isn't super into Wonder Man, you might be surprised to find that he wasn't always an actor, but rather an investor. Specifically in this issue, he's one that's apparently going to... He's cooked. He's in court right now. He is guilty of embezzlement, because Tony Stark basically made his entire patents and his whole career worthless, and so Simon, he did a little trolling. And now he's facing legal ramifications. However, he is saved by Enchantress and Executioner, who pull up in what I can only describe as the most camp fits I've ever seen. Like, okay, Enchantress is kind of pulling it off. Executioner, you are not subtle, bro. You are not subtle. Also, ignore my nails. Sorry about that. So, it's just... so now we got Simon on board. So Simon basically agreed to go with these strangers to the middle of South America so that they can give him power to get his revenge. And sure enough, Zemo basically just fucking mutates him. It is crazy work. The Avengers are as good as beating Zemo. You are not him, bro. You are not him. So, with his new abilities, we test them out, you know. Simon's like bulletproof, and he's sure enough, he's given the costume, and it's a rough costume. It's a rough costume. I've never liked this costume. I don't like this costume that much. It's not great. Regardless of dog shit costume, however, Simon's pretty strong now. You know, he's lifting a tree, he's punching some rocks, he's soaring through the air. He's a real dog of a bloke. He's the GOAT. He's the best to ever do it. So, you know, a couple days pass, and then our classic trio, they're doing a bit of crime, and the Avengers show up. But before anyone can react, suddenly Wonder Man shows up and just thwomps the shit out of them. Now, obviously, this is staged. This is staged. This is like a Mr. Beast video. It's so staged. It is insane. Basically, Simon shows up, and he's all charming, and he's putting the moves on him. But secretly, he's obviously working for Zemo. Now, why is he working for Zemo? Well, because Zemo holds the key to his survival. We do get a taste of Simon's acting ability early on, however, as he creates a backstory where he was vacationing, and then Zemo captured him and experimented on him. Also, he's dying of a disease, and that's kind of a thing. It's not the greatest cover story, but it's one that works enough, combined with the Enchantress's spell work, to make the Avengers lock in. Another couple days come past, and Wonder Man calls in the team, and he's like, guys, I've been captured by Zemo, also he caught the Wasp, I'm gonna give you my location. So yeah, they captured fucking Wasp off page. I want to show you, right? This is the last page. Wasp is such an afterthought. She got captured off page. That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. They were doing Wasp dirty in a lot of the early books. It is rough. It is rough as a Wasp fan to read the early Avengers books, because she's handled so roughly early on. I get that it was the time, and for what it's worth, there are moments that she's great, but it's just off page. We don't see it. Sure enough, the Avengers, you know, they come in, they fall for the trap. Surprise, Wonder Man was lying the whole time, and we get a big old fight. It's pretty great. He throws a boulder at him, but then Wonder Man just swats it back at him like it's nothing. That's such a great... I love this sequence of events here. This is great paneling. This is great work. I adore it so much. So, after beating and capturing all the Avengers, Zemo is like, oh, we're gonna fucking kill them. We're gonna kill them. Wonder Man's like, wait a second. Why don't we just capture them? That's fucked up. Don't kill them. And Zemo's like, I don't give a shit. If you want to keep on living with your stupid antidote that I'm going to give you, you will die if you question me. And so here we really get the moment where Simon makes his hero switch, where he's like, I have no choice. I must do as I'm told if I want to live. And yet, they tried to help me when I came to them. They treated me with respect, like an equal. And this is how I've repaid them, with the basest treachery? Is life so dear that I'd pay such a price for it? So sure enough, Simon turns on his allies, and we get a good spat here. He just fucking trounces them. He trounces them, and he sets the Avengers free. And then this is the last fucking page of the comic, by the way. So we're racing to the exit, and then, you know, Simon's down, and Wasp is like, well, what about him? What about him? What are we gonna do? And in the literal last pages, Iron Man is like, Wonder Man, you sacrifice yourself to save us. Why? And Wonder Man says, perhaps every man dreams of doing something noble in his life. Now I can die knowing that I didn't live in vain. Die? Have you forgotten? He could only live so long as Zemo gave him the antidote. So yeah, he wasn't lying in his fake backstory when he said that Zemo is like poisoning him or whatever. Uh-oh. And then Wonder Man dies. And that's the end of the issue. He just fucking dies. These are the panels. He's dead. He dies. Obviously he comes back, but he heroically sacrifices himself. It is very funny, though, because literally on the previous page, he's trouncing Executioner, and then he's just fucking dead in the burst. That sucks. But I think it's a really poignant moment. It does land when you're reading it fully, because, I mean, you know, this is a singular arc for the character. We start off with Simon Williams. He's this kind of devious little investor who's embezzling money, and he might be going to prison, and then he's given power, but at a cost of his health. And, you know, he betrays the team only to later kind of course correct and redeem himself. It really is compelling. It's a compelling read. I do recommend you try and find a way to read it, whether it's through the Penguin Classics collection or online or whatever. It's a solid issue, and it's Wonder Man's true beginnings. You know, it's interesting that we see the beginning of you know, Simon as a character here. There are traits present in this book that do carry over. You know, his heroic nature, his second guessing of himself. I think it's all very important, And here it's established. And I think it's a really solid beginning point. Also, I love the artwork as well. I love the look of it. You know, the vibrant background colors and just the way the action is choreographed and set out. It's remarkable stuff. I do love it. And as a debut for a new character, this is pretty strong. Considering what other characters were debuting around the time period, I'd say Wonder Man has one of my favorite introductions into the pages of the Avengers. Simon is similar to characters like the Vision in that he started off kind of as a villain, but he would join the team and he would find a new place. And I really do like that about him. And I think it's a great book, you know? It's just fascinating to me to see where these characters come from originally. Also, this costume still sucks. I've said it like 5 times. I don't love this costume. I do, however, love the logo. The logo is present even here in the beginning. It's very strong stuff. It's a strong identifier. I'm so glad he got rid of the goofy fucking helmet, man. It is rough. It is rough. But yeah, I just wanted to make this quick little thing just to kind of talk about Wonder Man because the show has come out and I really wanted an excuse to whip this out. So I hope you enjoyed a recounting of this issue. You know, stick around, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.